What is going on, everybody? Welcome to Keeping It EPL. Name isn't beta, but I kind of like it. Keeping It EPL, where myself and our boy, Matthew Sells, aka the Salesman, will be talking everything English Premier League soccer. Welcome, Matt. Is this your dream to be talking EPL soccer?
If you had asked me a couple of years ago, no, but
Yeah.
I've gotten into it since, a lot of my coworkers are into it. You and I know that you have followed it for quite a
Welcome.
while.
Welcome. I pulled you into the dark
And,
side.
you kept, we'd talk NASCAR and go, well, after Liverpool plays, I'll set my stuff. I got to focus on Liverpool first and then we'll talk NASCAR. It's like, okay. And then, one of my kids' best friends is his dad is a Chelsea fan, so he
Mhm.
kept poking and prodding me over the last couple of years, and coworkers. So, and my wife played soccer, so tangentially I had a huge pull.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I'm headlong into it. We've been going for Premier League. I have a Bundesliga team, which we won't talk about on this podcast. I have MLS team, so I'm
You're all
full
in.
bore.
Have you gotten into La Liga or Serie A yet?
I can't yet. The style of play is just not what
Not your
I what.
style.
No, it's not my style. Plus, I like leagues where more than like two teams are competitive.
Well, Serie A has been better lately. Let's
It's
put it
been
that way.
better. Serie A has a draw because, American Captain America plays there at AC
Milan.
Milan.
Mhm.
Um, and a few others, but like generally speaking, you know who's winning League One in France, and you know who's
Yeah,
winning
yeah.
La Liga every year.
One of two teams. Yeah.
Yeah, I
Hey,
mean
well,
you could
not
say the
last
same
year.
for Bundesliga, but last year was a weird year because Bayern fell down because they signed Harry Kane, who doesn't win
Mhm.
trophies.
Nope. He refuses.
And he didn't even touch the trophy for like Bayern played Tottenham in the preseason and Bayern beat him twice, which I guess got them a trophy for winning the preseason series or
I
something. And Harry Kane wouldn't touch it in front of the Tottenham fans.
That's not a
So
real trophy, though.
we're full bore into this. I love getting up early watching soccer starting the weekend
Yeah, who doesn't?
um, with EPL. I used to get like a few years ago, I would get real peeved that they were still doing the post game show for EPL and they would bump NASCAR practice because they're both on NBC at this point,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
now
yeah.
it's like, I'll just go multi-screen with it.
We live in a world with multi-screen, so we're good. Yeah,
Yes,
I got my tablet here. I have two TVs over here.
I've had, um, we were watching what, Dortmund? There was a weekend last year where Dortmund, Nottingham Forest, which you could tell,
Mhm.
you know, root for, and Tottenham all played at the same time. So I had three screens going to watch individual games.
Yeah, and you
Uh,
also like Tottenham because you have to choose at least one team that has a chance every year, right?
I did, yes. So I was advised by my American friends here, Rouse and, a few other friends, I should pick a Big Six team when because that way you have something to root for every year. Because if your team gets kicked out, you're not a Premier fan anymore. You're just a fan of a team that's in the Championship League, which is tougher to follow. Although,
Mhm.
thanks Paramount Plus for making that easier.
It is,
Um,
definitely.
so yeah, so I picked Tottenham first year under Ange was very fun to watch. I was like, I like you people, and I'm a former Jets fan, so I know what it's like to not win anything every year. So
And
there's
I
that,
am indeed a Liverpool fan, and I have been a Liverpool fan since I was 10 years old. So there you go.
which is going on 20 plus years.
Yes. One championship during the pandemic, and it was awesome. I cried like a baby, and it was fun to watch. But we are here now. We are here to the newest Premier League season. I'm keeping it EPL 2024 2025. And I will normally around this time, I say, man, a lot has happened in the offseason during the transfer window. But this year,
Not so much.
not so much. A lot more going out than coming in, I will
Yeah,
say. And it's weird that the three main teams that we'll talk about, I think we both agree there's three teams that are above the rest in
yes.
this year. Not really a lot of action from either of them or any of them really in the transfer window. Liverpool just straight up said, "Nah, we're good. we don't want anybody." Yet there are some rumors out there still, but when you're that big of a club, there's always rumors, even when they're not true. But looking at this, I'm going, this is the first year where I don't think a major. Obviously, Man City did get a good player that's like 20 years old that's going to come in, but will he do anything this year? Maybe not, because their depth chart is so stacked, right?
Yeah.
But Arsenal
You're literally
really nothing either.
letting Julian Alvarez go, and
That's interesting. Yeah.
he was a role player last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, when you have Phil Foden and and Erling Haaland,
Yeah,
up front, plus
one.
Rodri, plus De Bruyne, I think you're fine.
Yeah, the only in they have is Savinho, who's from a 20-year-old from Brazil.
Yep.
25 million fee and a market value of 50 million euros. By the way, we talk euros on this show. Interesting there, but again, he's going to get no playing time. They may end up loaning him out, or he's going to join the under 20 team.
Well, they did sign the American Wonder Kid, Kevin Phillips.
Yeah, Calvin Phillips.
Yeah. From who's still playing for Philadelphia Union right now. He's gonna go to some sister clubs for Man City for 2 years, and then so you're not gonna hear about that guy for like another 4 years because he's 14.
So really nothing.
But
really nothing.
Yes.
They did nothing. Let's look at Arsenal. I think they did a little bit more. They did the most of the big three.
They got the Italian defender.
Yeah. Calfiori.
Yes.
Coming over from Bologna. And David Rea, the goalkeeper from Spain, who I believe last year played for Brentford, who had a pretty solid season. But the last thing they need is a goalkeeper. When they have
the fewest shots on goal.
and what's crazy is they literally have one of the best goalkeepers in the world, maybe even top 3 in the world, and the dude can't even start for his own country because that goalkeeper is Alisson, who starts for Liverpool. Yes. And Liverpool, nothing to see here. They did absolutely nothing.
Well, they got a new coach.
They did get a new coach.
Manager, did retire. Manager. We got a
yeah, that's right, manager. And it's fun for me. I get to say, can I say it out loud? Slot ball. Welcome to the slot ball era, baby.
That's his name. I mean,
we're gonna play. We went from clot ball to slot ball, baby. Clot ball to slot ball.
But even that was dealt with so early in the offseason. It feels like nothing has happened for. I mean, you're replacing arguably the most, certainly most beloved coach in Liverpool history.
He won every single major
most
trophy
successful coach in Liverpool history, and yet it's just a blip. Like, it's possible people forgot that they have a new coach. It happened so early in the offseason and nothing else has happened.
Yeah,
I mean, it happened before Euros.
Yeah, no, he retired. Before the season ended.
Yeah,
he was already hired, and Klopp was doing his
basically. They had already interviewed him and set it up before.
His style of play, his style of play, or managering is very similar to Klopp. Very similar.
Yes,
is going to be going down the field, attacking the ball at the point, being aggressive. Just get in your face, get the ball back, and just go as quickly as you can down the field. And they have the players for that as well. So they're going to be fun to watch this year. I think a little less kind of sitting back a few times that they did last year with those leads. And I think this year they're going to have more leads at halftime instead of always having to come back from 1-0 down to win, which seemed like every win was that way last year for Liverpool. But more on them later or now. Let's give our tier lists of who we think will win the Premier League, get relegated, and make it to all the other European trophy tournaments like Champions League, Europa League. I'll do mine first because I have it here first.
Well,
and if you're listening on Spotify or any other podcast, we're going to kind of lay it down for you so you kind of know where we stand.
And if you're watching on video, yes, there are 20 teams. It's just one of them.
Tottenham is dark blue, and you can't really see it.
In fact, when we were setting these up, I texted you and I was like, they forgot Tottenham because I didn't even see it. Damn, I was like, I only see 19 logos.
Yeah, you got mad for a second. That's for
I
sure. Let me
did
see if
for a
I could
second, yes.
do this so we can see ourselves too. Is there a way to do it? Nope, there's
Yes.
not. Okay, we're doing it this way. All right. So I have Manchester City as the champions. I think until you lose, you deserve the spot. They're deep. They always make a late season run where they seem to be impossible to beat. They always falter in the beginning. It's the same thing over and over again here. Second, I have Liverpool. What I've seen in the preseason with the slot ball has been pretty impressive, and they've allowed virtually no goals as well. And defensively, they look stout. As long as everyone stays healthy on this team, and Darwin Nunez can actually find the net.
Yeah, Captain Chaos.
Yeah, he's great for Uruguay, and then he plays for Liverpool, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I forgot there's a goal there." Arsenal, and I actually have Chelsea kind of getting that spot. Now, they were good towards the end of the season last year. Obviously, they have a new coach this year. They spent the most amount of money by far. Once again, that's a yearly trend. People don't, and that's not at all surprising. But again, some of the players that they brought in last year, another year in the system, they spent more money this year. Like really, all it is with them and is Chelsea just needs to come together as a team and work as a team.
Right.
And that's how they struggled last year. Is a lot of these players would try too much to take everything on their own. That's what happens when you spend a lot of money on players like that. But it comes together this year, and I can see them for sure. Europa League 6 at the least, but overtaking Man U, who also did not make a lot of moves this year. Newcastle, who's a rising team, which but who knows? A lot of people have them in their Champions League 4, and I'm like, I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah, I don't know if I can put them quite there. Yeah.
So I have them here 5 and 6 below Chelsea with Man U. I hate this. I could also flip flop Man U and Tottenham there. They're very close when it comes to how I view their teams this season. Man U, we say this every year. They should be better. But
They should be.
Yeah, we'll see. Again, they also have a ego issue and a really a just coming together as a team issue there as well. And then Tottenham, do they have enough? Do they really have enough? They have some really good players. I just don't know if they have enough. I mean, they're going to be hard to beat at times. At times, they're going to put 5 goals in, but also at times they could do a stinker and lose 0-1 to Brighton. Like, you know what I mean? So I have them there in the Europa Conference League. And then you have this just field of higher mid-table. I like Aston Villa, West Ham, Crystal Palace. These teams are Spider-Man memes to me. Brighton should be higher mid-table. They showed last year they're a really good team, especially at home. They're really hard to beat at home. I don't know what to do with Wolves. A lot of people have them lower. They seem to press the gas on and score goals when they need to. And then, going into the lower mid here, Fulham, Everton, who as long as they don't get another suspension should.
Yeah, but they're under threat of another point.
I know they are. It's just Bournemouth, your Nottingham Forest. I could switch them with Brentford here, but I'm going to say here that Leicester and Ipswich Town, I think, are the bottom 2. And it's not even close. It's just with talent, with everything. So there's mine. So let's show yours, and you can explain how you agree or disagree here with your tier list for this Premier League season. Okay.
Mine's a little different.
Yes, it is.
It's a little different.
We do have all the same teams 7 through 1, though. Just a little bit different.
Yeah, we basically have decided that there are 2 tiers of the Premier League. One group is competing for the top 7 spots, and one group you could kind of throw against the wall, and if certain results go certain ways, then they'll wind up there. But yeah, I think it's Arsenal's year, as much as that pains me to say as a Tottenham fan.
All right. I don't know.
They were desperately close to knocking off Man City last year. They didn't have Gabriel Jesus for a while. He's healthy now. I think their defense gets even better with some of their additions. And I do think that another year with Man City, you've got questions about, is Pep gonna call it quits? Is is their depth. Like, they don't use a whole lot of their bench all that much,
They don't
right?
really need to.
They don't need to, but a lot of their studs are now kind of getting on the wrong side of
Mhm.
30, right? You've got De Bruyne who's been approached to leave. You've got obviously Phil Foden is fine, Erling Haaland is
De
fine, although
Bruyne has had injury issues recently as well too.
right, and
Mhm.
Haaland missed some time with injuries.
Yeah.
Um, and you've had, you know, if Kyle Phillips loses a step, then his defensive value kind of
Mhm.
shrinks a little bit. I just think that they got pushed really hard last year, and I think that year in not as young of a team kind of gets Arsenal over the top there. I think Liverpool is third,
Mhm.
pretty close third, but I do think that they're third. Just the new coach, I know that they play pretty close to the same style, but there's always going to be a little bit of a change
Mhm.
there. Um, I think Tottenham has enough to finish Champions League. They were top of the table for the first like 10 weeks of the season.
Mhm.
Then that terrible game against Chelsea happened in November where two key guys got suspended. We lost James Madison
Mhm.
for a chunk of time, some other injuries, and the mojo just kind of, went away. They lost Son for a little bit when the Asia Cup happened. They've added some youth and another year in the Ange system. They've looked pretty exciting preseason. So I think that they're capable of fighting for the Champions League spot. They will get some practice in Europe this year with a Europa League, playing there. I think Chelsea has the talent to do it. I think they're going to be an exciting team to watch because it's from what my Chelsea fan friend has said. He's like, if you're a neutral, it's going to be exciting because they play no defense. It's like
Mhm.
11 dudes in the attacking half of the field, and if you get the ball over them, it's just a sprint back to the other side. So that could lead to a bunch of scores. It might be a high scoring affair every time Chelsea's on the field, but I think they have the talent to finish fifth or sixth. I do think Newcastle has the guys to finish in that
Yeah,
area.
totally.
Um, although Elliot Anderson leaving Newcastle to go to Forest is an interesting
Mm.
loss.
Remember, Newcastle used to be like the boringest team to watch.
Yeah, but
They were
now they're
like, I'm
owned
like,
by the
oh,
Saudi
Liverpool's
state,
playing
and
Newcastle this week. Ugh. And
now they're
now
owned
it's
by the
like
Saudi state,
they
and they
were
have a bunch
exciting
of
last
money.
year. They were fun to watch last year. I liked it. It's
Yes,
it's it's good for the brand of Newcastle, to be honest.
they also had terrible injury luck last year,
Mhm.
which I don't anticipate happening this year. You never bank on injuries, right?
No.
Um, and then Man U, look, they've got the guys to compete. It's just a matter of can they put it together week to week. They allowed the second
Mhm.
most
The
shots.
chemistry is off
Yeah,
there.
they allowed the second most shots uh, against them in the Premier League last year. The only team that was worse got kicked back down to the Championship League. So only I think it was Sheffield United was worse
Yeah.
in terms of shots
Defense
allowed.
defense is an issue for Man
Yeah,
United.
but
It
they do
always has been.
have
And it is again this year.
they do have some exciting youth. They're trying to make some moves. Still, you know, I think it'll be an interesting up and down season for Man U, which puts them seven.
Okay. Yep.
Um, the rest of this group now, the higher mid-table teams,
We're pretty much even here, except you
we're
have Forest higher. But
I
yeah.
have Forest higher. I do think that they played better under Nuno Espirito than they did under Steve Cooper, which frankly isn't hard to do. They've made some pretty impressive moves this offseason to kind of shrink the squad, but also improve the squad. Goalkeeping is not a problem at this point, like it was with Matt Turner in goal. Um, they also gave up the most points from winning positions of any team in the Premier League last year, which means they were in position to win. They just didn't finish games. Like, personally, we watched the Liverpool Forest game
Mhm.
last year, which went scoreless for 99 minutes until they couldn't clear a header and Darwin Nunez put it in to win that game,
Yeah,
right?
the one time he put it in. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So if they clear that header and they hold on to a couple other games, there was a points deduction.
Okay.
They're like a couple spots higher in the table last year than they were. Um,
So you have Villa,
I have Villa,
Brighton, West Ham,
Brighton, West Ham, Crystal Palace, and Nottingham
and
Forest
Forest. So
8 through
so they're
12.
pretty much safe in your tier list here, and then you have the lower mid where it could
Yes,
be
the lower mid is going to
borderline
be
relegation.
Everton, Bournemouth, Brentford, Fulham, and Ipswich.
Mhm.
And look, Everton's fighting a PSR points deduction right off the bat. I still don't know where their goals come from. I think they did a lot of it with just piss and vinegar last year after the deduction. They got real good for like a month and saved themselves, and then they were kind of the rest of the way. Bournemouth, I don't know where goals are coming from after Solanke left and went to Tottenham. Brentford, I feel like they're kind of always a 14th, 15th place team. Fulham, if they're not at home, they're not scoring points. So there's that. And
Mhm.
I do think Ipswich has enough with their manager to kind of outclass a couple others.
We'll see. Brentford, by the way, they got Carvalho from Liverpool, which is an interesting transfer.
It
And
is.
it
There's
wasn't a
talk
loan
that,
either. It was a straight up sale, and he's going to probably start be their 9. So it'll be interesting to see how he.
there's talk that Ivan Toney's still on his way out,
Mhm.
and they were when he was suspended for the first half of the year for the gambling stuff, they couldn't really score. They were not very good. And then he
Yeah.
came back and they were fine. So it's never good if a team only has one goal scoring option. Doesn't really work very well, right? In the relegation zone, we've got Wolves,
Mhm.
Leicester, and Southampton. Um, Southampton, they finished 4th last year in the championship. They weren't great. 15 new players,
Mhm.
not usually a great
Not a
idea.
not a good sign, no.
No. Leicester lost their coach to Chelsea because
Mhm.
he moved them up from what League One to Championship in 2 years, or
Mhm.
League One to Championship to Premier League in 2 years. So their coach is gone. They replaced him with Steve Cooper, who is a Forest fan I know well and posted the worst record in Premier League history through 50 games, which is not a great signing. He's already complaining about the team not having enough guys. Which is usually not great. He also runs a completely counter system to what the previous coach had. So, not great. And then Wolves, they have an awfully hard start to the season. Their first
They
8
do. It's a
games
very tough
is
start.
brutal. They also lost Max Killian, one of their better defenders, and then Pedro Neto went
Mhm.
left as well. Um, so it wasn't a very big team to begin with. They dealt with some injury stuff. Um, so I don't know if they can overcome that bad start and shortening the talent on the side.
There you go. There you go. Those are our predictions. Pretty
A little
close.
long-winded on my part. I'm sorry about that, but
Oh, you're fine. No.
details work.
We're pretty close in the tiers, I would say. It's
We're
just a
pretty
matter
close.
of who's
Yeah.
going down. And your Arsenal prediction is a fun one. It is a fun one. They are second, I believe, in odds to win.
Yeah, they're pretty close. If we look
Yeah,
at it's what 150 for Man City and
yeah.
187 for plus 187 for
And
Arsenal,
yeah, those are best odds. And I have Liverpool second, and they're at plus 750. Chelsea fourth,
which is interesting.
and then Man City and Tottenham are tied,
What I
followed
don't
by
get is
Newcastle and
why
Aston
Man U
Villa.
and Tottenham are tied.
Yeah, I don't know there. That's
I mean,
all
I
through
know that I'm a
Caesars.
bias, but, like, just looking at last year, because basically the talent is that's coming back is essentially the same.
Yeah.
Tottenham's made some moves. They've got some young guys coming in, a couple of 17 and 18-year-olds that are gonna get time.
Hmm.
But Tottenham looked like a more threatening team for most of the season than Man U did.
Yeah. I think we both have them. No, like I said, I would flip them in mine, but you have Tottenham ahead. So you have Tottenham
Yeah.
going Champions League. All right. Well, let's
Yeah,
go over
although in
some.
fairness, they may finish 5th and still make champions based on the way they
You're right.
calculate that.
Let's go over some of the first week of the Premier League season, baby. This week's games and give some bets, some picks, and then we'll give our draw of the week. what we're going to do is say what game is most likely to be a draw. Because if you don't know, draw betting is a fun way to win plus money. So we'll let you on that. Let's go over. Let's just talk about it. Man, U will open the season on this Friday against Fulham at home. They are favored 180 minus 182, plus 500 with a draw being plus 350. Those are the best odds, by the way, available for each one. I mean, 1-0, Man U.
Yeah, probably.
I would take the 182 and I wouldn't go the 1.5 goals by 2 goals. I wouldn't touch it. That has disappointment written all over it.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect. I mean, Man U had trouble scoring last year. They didn't exactly add anybody to their scoring repertoire this year. I mean, it is Fulham on the road, which helps because they just were not. Like, if you look at Fulham's point total last year, I think 2/3 or 70% of their points came from home, which is insane. It also speaks to, Man U's may have a little bit of an easier, setup here to get going this season. So I'm with you. I would take Man U.
Let me check the total goals here.
Yeah, what are the
over 1.5 is minus 700. So they're expecting two goals here. Under 1.5 you get for plus 500 at FanDuel.
Under 1.5?
Yeah. I mean, obviously they think it's going to be more than, and this is from both sides, by the way, just total goals.
Yes.
I'd sprinkle a little bit on that plus 500 that it's a 1-0 victory for Man U.
You know what? I would, just for fun, still plus money, I would go under 2.5. Is plus 166.
Is it really?
Yes. At FanDuel, under 2.5 is plus 166.
I would. That's one I like. I like that one. I like that one better. That's a good. There you go. There's our pick. Under 2.5 goals plus money in Man United.
That way, if it's a 1-0, you still win. But if somebody
and if it's 2-0 or 1-1, you still win as well. Right. I like that. We'll talk about this quickly because we'll just blow over it. Ipswich, if that's how you say it. I'm assuming that's how you say it. That's how we say it. Ipswich. Against
team.
Liverpool.
Do you know that? It's Ed Sheeran's team.
Oh, yeah. Isn't he sponsored?
He's from Ipswich. He grew up. It's his boyhood team. And yes, the last 2 years, he has been the front of jersey sponsor.
It says his name on it, right?
It said his tour.
Oh,
it had all the symbols because he has the
yeah,
subtract,
that's funny.
Multiply, divide, tour on the front of, and he's gonna have sponsorship on there. So any Ed Sheeran fans who want kind of a cool little merch thing, you could go buy Ipswich's Premier League because it may be the only one for a while. They haven't been it's 20 years since they've been.
Yeah. This may be the only year that you get to buy that, unless you buy the patch separately and put it on yourself.
Yeah. I'm not that interested in betting this game.
I'm not either.
It's minus 275 for Liverpool to win.
Liverpool's probably going to win. It's just a matter by how much.
I mean, it could be fun, I guess. Total goals. I don't know what are the lines on the total goal. Oh, geez.
Yeah, let's not. Yeah, I'm not betting this game, especially as a Liverpool fan. I'm just going to enjoy it.
Yeah, to get plus money on a goal, it looks like you got to go over 3.5 is plus 115.
Jeez. And I could see it ending 3-0.
Under 2.5 is plus 186, but you don't really want to be in that spot to root for a 2-0 Liverpool win.
It will, Liverpool's going to win
that one.
Yeah, Wolverhampton and Arsenal. Arsenal. I mean,
Arsenal's going to
not much here either. Let's just blow over that one here.
I mean, Arsenal's going to win. We could talk, formations, whatnot. Clearly, we both think highly of Arsenal. You have them finishing second. I have them finishing first.
Mm-hmm.
They are the second, favorite for betting odds to win the league. Wolves are not anywhere close. Clearly, I think they're getting relegated. The money lines on the total goals and prop bets are probably going to be heavily in Arsenal's favor. So again, we're not really betting
Let's go over to the games that are a little bit closer in
Yeah.
betting spread, shall we?
Yes.
Your Nottingham Forest at Bournemouth, or not at, but obviously Nottingham Forest is the home team, but
Yes.
Bournemouth at Nottingham Forest, plus 145 for Forest, plus 190, but a plus 250 draw. We think this will be a draw. I think this is going to be a 1-0 win.
I
What do you
think
got?
Forest wins.
Yeah, at home, I agree.
And not just because I have a Forest shirt on, right?
No, I'm agreeing with you. I think it's a 1-0. I think
Couple things. One, Forest was way better at home. City ground, the energy there, and it was just announced that the team and the city came to an agreement so that Forest can stay at City ground, which is huge news because it's a historic stadium. But also last year, the guy that really killed Forest when we played Bournemouth was Solanke, and he's not on Bournemouth anymore. So
he has moved on.
there's that. So yeah, probably I would take a 2-0 win, be more comfortable.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, I think it's probably 2-1 or 1-0 Forest.
Yeah, I'm taking the plus 145 on Forest to win.
I'm curious what
this
the total goals lines like over 2.5 is minus 138. So the 2-1 seems like it's pretty close because
That's a play
under
too.
2.5 is plus 118. So it seems like that's the cutoff right there.
I'm just more comfortable just taking Forest to win it plus 145. I think.
That's
Want to mess with the
probably
total.
true.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk about the big games. A couple of the big games, and then we'll give our draw of the week. West Ham and Aston Villa. This game should be a shootout. I think it's going to be an up and down game. 145 for West Ham, 175 for Villa. It's Villa at West Ham, so in London Stadium. What do you got here?
I think I'm gonna make this my draw of the week.
What? All right.
I think I'm picking this one as my draw. We went through this before the pod, and I think the 4 games we picked, we all agree. We both agreed.
This was one of mine too. This was
before
one of my
looking
draws
at
of the
the
week.
draw lines. I was just looking at the matchups, and I think I'm gonna make this my draw of the week.
There it is. Matt Sells draw of the week. West Ham hosting Aston Villa. 2-2.
Yeah. I think it's gonna be 2-2. I think it goes 1-1.5, and then we got some wild scenes in the second half. But yeah, I'm gonna take this as my draw of the week. They're just very evenly matched. They're just evenly matched sides. And I know Villa has Champions League coming this year. Congrats to them for finishing 4th last year. But yeah, I don't think West Ham is that far off of them, especially at home.
No, I have them as Spider-Man meme in my tiers list for this season.
Yeah,
like there's 3 teams that are all there. So
yeah,
I think you have those same 3 teams all in the same area too. Like
yeah, I have Villa, Brighton, West Ham.
Speaking of Brighton, they're traveling to Everton to Liverpool. That's a close one too. Plus 162 for Everton, plus 170 for Brighton. I am going to tell you this, Matt Sells. This is my draw of the week.
There you go.
Brighton at Everton, 0-0 or 1-1 in this one. This is my draw of the week.
This was the first one that caught my attention, but to be different, I let you have it. But yes,
all right.
This has draw.
Plus 240, because when a blue team plays a blue team,
there you go.
They're even, right? So they must draw. That's my draw of the week.
Also, Everton had a real tough time scoring more than 1 goal a game last year. They have some interesting guys, but they just don't find the back of the net all that often. And Pickford is still pretty good in goal to stop multiples.
It's not good enough in the Euros, but
No. So they're both mid-table sides, I think. Although Everton's going to have another point deduction.
They're going to go down, and okay. Anyways, that's my draw of the week. The big one, Sunday. Chelsea hosting Man City.
I think that I think Man City pulls this one out, but I do think it's closer. That like I don't think Chelsea gets
To
blown out.
to win minus 120, but I think you could get better odds. No, it's pretty much minus 120, minus 125 across the board. Now they're heading to Chelsea, and Chelsea. Am I seeing this right? Oh yeah, plus 295, plus 290, plus 300 really to win, and a draw comes in around plus 290, 260 as well. So
Now, is this my second pick for draw of the week?
you can't have a second draw of the week. You got to pick a team.
I'm not
No, you
picking the
can. It's
draw. I'm
fine.
just saying, like, if we were doing a tier list for draws of the week, this one's kind of right below that top pick of West Ham Villa. I just don't think that Man City's going to know what to expect from Chelsea because it's not Poch. It's an entirely different. Yes, it's the same players, but it's an entirely different system. And even under Poch, as inconsistent as Chelsea was, they still gave Man City really good games. So I ultimately think that Man City winds up pulling this one out and wins maybe 3-2.
The goal line here is that, according to the odds, is roughly at 3.5. So that's where the split is. Where if it goes over 3.5, you get plus value. If you go under 3.5, you get negative value. But it's in the 150 range for under, over plus 120. So that tells me that
I think it's like a 3-2 win for Man City.
I like the over of 3.5. I'm willing to put the over here.
Because Chelsea's not going to play any defense. It's
Yeah.
it's a
True.
higher line than Tottenham's high line, which got lobbed, got mortar shells over the top all the time.
Do we have we got to get next week we'll do like player props because I want to know here first goal scorer. You could get Erling Haaland plus 360 to be the first goal scorer. I like that.
Plus 360 to be
the first goal scorer
of that game?
Of this game, yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
What's Cole Palmer?
Please hold. So yeah, getting plus money on that, especially when you're just talking about the lobs and stuff. If he gets through that Chelsea defense, he could definitely. Sorry, I'm getting ads all over the place here. For Cole Palmer, plus 700 on Bet365, plus 650 on Caesars. He's the third favorite, with Phil Foden being the second favorite, but not by much.
Yeah. I'd probably take Cole Palmer to score first. But
I'm going to tickle some Erling Haaland for sure at plus money because that's even though he's kind of struggled in the offseason a little bit and in Euros.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. But I like that there. I think Man City is going to be your winner. And then we have one last game we want to talk about only because you want to talk about it. Leicester hosting Tottenham. Tottenham, not that much of a favorite, but they are away, minus 160 with a plus 30 and a plus 330 there for the tie. So you're not getting much value anywhere in this game, but we have to talk about it because you like your Spurs. So what do you got here?
I think Tottenham wins. I know it's on the road. Leicester's going to be very excited to be back in the Premier League, although they only missed for 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
I just think, like under Cooper, Forrest couldn't handle Ange's system. I don't see how Leicester's going to handle Ange's system with worse players.
Here's a fun bet here.
Oh, God. How many goals are we talking?
Tottenham first half.
Oh, geez.
Just by halftime to win plus 320. Where the other, and this is at Caesars, where the other books currently have it at plus 135, 160, around that area. But you get plus 320 right now at Caesars.
I would rather have Tottenham drawing at half.
think you get plus 400 at that if you with the bet three. Oh yeah, roughly all around 380 to
Because
400.
last year, if you watched Angie's system, it's like they spent most of the first half feeling out the opponent, kind of like a
Hmm.
boxer, just like poking with jabs, seeing where the
Hmm.
weaknesses were. And then they would come out in the second half, and the first 15 minutes of the second half, they'd go on a run and pop off 2 goals in the first, 15 minutes, and then spend the rest of the time hoping the other team doesn't lob over their high line.
Mm.
So I might go draw at half for Tottenham.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on that 360 while I can. Let's put it that way because it's probably dropped down. But 1-0 into the halftime, I think would be
It's
there.
not out of the question.
Yeah. By the way, when betting soccer, it's a little bit different. Is you're going to be betting on a lot of plus in soccer just to earn value back on things because a lot of the favorites to win, there's so high favorites that you got to take these values where you can. So that's why you're hearing a lot of plus here on our actual picks.
Yep.
Because I'm not betting minus 1,000 on Arsenal to win. There's just no value there.
Yeah, and from
Zero.
my experience, this is pretty similar betting patterns to NASCAR. I'm betting a
Yeah.
lot of plus money in NASCAR.
And you have the draw involved. So it's more of three ways instead of
Right.
win or lose
Draw
by
betting is fun because you can, if somebody gets out to a big lead, then you can all of a sudden turn and root for the other team.
yeah. Yeah, when I went, I was actually live soccer betting in Vegas on my birthday a few years ago, and it was during like the Europa League was on. They had all the games on, and I would wait at halftime and then start live betting at halftime on teams to either come back and draw or come back to win. And I was crushing, dude. I was crushing. It was crazy. It was a fun day. So live,
Yeah,
there's nothing like
draw
live soccer
betting.
betting.
Now, I would only recommend draw betting on teams you're neutral on. Don't unless your team unless Forest is playing a team like that I know is better than Forest,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
then I'll bet the draw because then it's like, okay, well at least we get a point in the table,
Yeah, correct.
right? Um and then it still gives you something for obviously I want my team to win, but if like last year's 99th minute winner Liverpool hit against Forest, I bet that I all I wanted was a draw. All I wanted was a draw. Take points from one of the top 3 teams
Yep.
in the table. I'd have been fine. Um,
It was not meant to be that day, my friend.
it was not because Darwin Nunez had to go find the only goal he found for like 6 weeks.
Okay, I found something interesting here. The
Yes.
relegation odds.
Oh, good. What is Forest sitting at? Because I'm sure that they're
Leicester is number 1 at minus 225, followed by Ipswich at minus 110, and then Southampton at plus 125, then Everton, then Forest at plus 250,
excellent.
then the Wolves at plus 350, and then Brentford and Fulham are all kind of in the same little area. So
By the way, we should also toss in there that Leicester is likely facing a points deduction right off the bat from the last time they were in the Premier League.
that's probably why
So
they're minus 225
they're
here.
behind the 8 ball, and then they have a coach who, quite frankly, Forrest was not capable of coaching in the Premier League. So,
And yeah, there's going to be a lot of those. A few teams here will have those deductions this year. It's going to shape the table for sure. Let's have fun before we call it a day. Top goal scorer odds.
ooh,
Holland
for
is
the
minus
season,
145. Yep, he's a minus. Mohamed Salah is next, plus 1100. Alexander Isaac is plus 1600. Ollie Watkins plus 1700. Cole Palmer plus 2000. Nunez, let's be real, it's not how many times you miss, or else he would be the favorite, plus 2000. Solanke plus 2000, and Ivan Tony at plus 2300. Obviously, Haaland here is the favorite, rightly so. But again, like I said, he did kind of struggle towards the end of last season and during the offseason this year. And as more teams start to figure him out, um, is Salah or Alexander or Watkins or maybe even Cole Palmer here maybe worth a little sprinkle, or you just say no way, it's 100% going to be the guy who looks like a bad guy from Die Hard.
it's so hard to go against Holland because even though he missed several games last year, he still led the Premier League in goals
Mm-hmm.
or was tied at least for total goal contribution.
Yeah. It's hard to
Well,
go
at the
against.
rate at which at the rate at which Chelsea gets penalty kicks, Cole Palmer is always in the discussion because he takes all their PKs, and they led the league in PKs taken last year,
Yeah,
for better
I
or
I
worse
think
or correctly.
you're right. As if it's kind of hard to go against, and I think Mohamed Salah is way overpriced here.
I
He
do
should be at
too.
plus.
I think he's in a three-headed monster there at Liverpool.
Yeah, and last year he started assisting more,
Yes,
and he's going to do the same this year. I think the bump this year will be Luis Diaz if he stays with Liverpool.
right.
He's gonna get his up. Remember, Jota missed a lot of last season with an injury, and before he did, he was tearing it up. And you got Nunez. It's gonna be all around Liverpool. It's gonna be switched off around to everybody. It's gonna be a smorgasbord of goals from everybody. I am not high on even putting anything on plus 1100 for Mohamed Salah to overtake
I
Holland. It's just
do
not going to
think that
happen.
if you want a long shot, Solanke's very interesting.
That's a it is interesting. He's an
He was
ex-Liverpool player.
really good at Bournemouth last year. He
He
was
was.
really good,
Yep.
and he got overlooked because Bournemouth was their mid-table side. They don't get any attention. But in Tottenham did not have a striker last year. They had a bunch of guys playing false positions, right? They have a lot
Yeah.
of center attacking mids and wingers who were filling in, right? Richarlison looked great when Son was out, but he's not a striker. He is a center attacking mid.
And
Um,
Son's not really a striker either.
Son's
He's
not a
more of
striker
a
either. He's a
yeah.
winger. He's a
Yeah.
left wing. Brendan Johnson is a winger. He's not gonna, he's really good at whipping crosses in. And James Madison and Solanke play together, and they like each other. And so that instant connection in a free flowing system, I think he's pretty interesting as a dark horse
Mm-hmm.
at
I'm with you.
33-1.
I'm with you. I think he'll score more goals than Darwin Nunez.
Will he have more chances? I don't know, but he's going to connect them more.
100%.
Darwin Nunez is fun to like. If you're going to bet a guy, he's really fun to watch. He's also what makes the sweat really fun.
Yeah, nobody has hit more goalposts than
I watched him
Darwin
hit 3 in
Nunez.
one game.
He hit
Like,
3 in one game last year. Yeah, that
it
was
was
incredible.
ridiculous.
Yeah. And the best part, it was all three. He hit the left post, the right post, and the top, all in the same game. That was the
That's
best
what we
part
call a
about the whole thing.
trifecta.
Yeah, he's the only one in Premier League history to ever do that, and the announcers made that very known after he did it.
But yeah, I would say, I guess it's hard to bet against Holland, but I don't really like the negative odds because if the guy doesn't do it, then there's zero return on that.
Yeah,
And with such a big gap between him and Salah being
which
second
Salah should not be second. I'll tell you that right
at
now. And I'm a
11 to
Liverpool
1,
fan. I'm saying that it's going to be spread around. The goals will be spread around Liverpool this year.
like Holland is minus 145 and Salah is 11 to 1.
Yeah.
That's like Verstappen to win an F1 race. Like, so Isak is interesting. I just don't know if Newcastle has if he's their only guy.
Yeah.
Ollie Watkins was ridiculously good last year.
He was really good last year.
But yeah, I would say Solanke.
But I just don't see these guys scoring more goals than Holland. It's just it's not,
I would say Holland is the pick.
Yeah.
If you want two longer sleepers or longer shots.
Solanke, I agree with. I agree with because he's going to be a true 9 there.
I'm going with Solanke and Palmer.
There you go. I agree. We're going to have to start an F1 podcast just so I could yell about that, but that's for another day.
There's too little that happens in it. More drama is off the track in F1.
We could just replay the same podcast each week and no one would know.
Just watch Drive to Survive. You'll be just...
Yeah. Well, this was it. We conquered the first episode of Keep It at EPL. A little bit longer this time, obviously, because we had to go over the offseason and get you ready with our tiers for this year and go over the matchups of this weekend. Next week, we'll be a little bit shorter. We'll talk about what happened, anything that shocked us, surprised us, and then we'll go over the next week's bets and picks as well. Matthew Sells at The Salesman. Tell everyone where to find you, and we'll call it a day.
You can find me on Twitter, and I'm going to keep calling it that because Elon Musk just referred to it as Twitter all of last night. So
you did.
Find me on Twitter at The Salesman. You can find me mainly on Fantasy Alarm with MLB prospects, NASCAR stuff. You can find me in Discord, Twitter, I'm talking a lot of stuff. NASCAR, EPL, MLS, a little bit of Bundesliga. F1 is in there. Baseball's in there. We're getting to football season, so my Chargers or my Chiefs will be taking on your Chargers there in football season. So we'll have that as a backdrop too. So that'll be fun. Yeah, a lot of stuff, lot of stuff going
A
on.
man of many, many hats. That is for sure.
Yeah, my daughters want me to get into cricket. I don't know if that's
No,
gonna
don't do that. You gotta draw the line
rugby's fun.
somewhere. I'm drawing the line there.
I
No.
do like rugby though. I do follow a little bit of rugby when I have time.
It depends if it's the full rugby or the sevens. I like the
Sevens. Okay, so I grew up. I'll make this quick. Grew up in a family that plays rugby. They played 15s, which is rugby, right? The one in the Olympics everybody loved is rugby sevens, which is played on the same size field, just 7 people instead of 15.
There's more action.
Way more action. It's also, by the way, a lot shorter of a game. Full rugby 15s is the same length as a soccer game, 45-minute halves, and it's a lot more,
Yeah, and it ends 7-3.
Right. So sevens is faster, more fun to watch. Kind of like the T20 in cricket, faster, more fun to watch.
All right, I guess we'll be talking rugby as well now on
everything
Twitter.
British. Why not?
At the Cells, man. This has been the first episode of Keeping It EPL. We'll be back next week with full coverage, week 2, and liking or loving or hating what we saw this week. Good luck to your Nottingham Forest team, and good luck to your Tottenham this season, my friend.
Good luck to Liverpool.
We'll see you next week, everybody. Have a good week 1 in the EPL, baby. Let's go.